adultery, cohabitation, and marriage. You have heard that it has been said, "You should not commit adultery." But I tell you, he who cohabits with someone other than his spouse and practices in the manner of one's bounded in marriage with such a commitment should be caused to terminate such condition and circumstance, for it is unworthy of mankind, abhorrent, and filled with lascivious, selfish, for physical pleasure, without the thought or responsibility unto the consequences thereof. It is in creation of unbalance and disharmony, for at all times does such activity impinge upon the justness one to another. If one's practice physical pleasures with ones of the same earth species of male or female, thy physical activities will be the carriers of disease and of carnal consequences, for it is against the natural laws of the creation, for in thy logical reason it is most obviously incorrect and ill-intended. If your right or left eye vexes you, pull it out and throw it away from you. It is better that only one of your limbs be ruined and not thy entire body. If a thought beleaguers you, then destroy it and ban it from your mind. It is better to destroy a thought that incites annoyance and subsequent invidious behavior, and not to bring the entire world of thought into an uproar. It is further being said, he who separates from his spouse should give him or her a letter of separation. But I tell you, he who leaves his spouse, except in the case of adultery, and I care not for physical, legal documentation, but those also who do dwell in the marriage rituals, causes the marriage to break. He who then marries one who has caused such a break is then also guilty of committing adultery. False swearing. Furthermore, you have also heard that it has been said to the old, "You shall not swear falsely, but only keep your oath to God." But I tell you that you shall never swear, neither to heaven which is infinite and cannot be measured, nor to the earth, for it passes, nor to Jerusalem, for it is not an eternal city, and is built by the hand of man. Nor shall you swear on your own head, for you cannot change the color of a single hair which springs forth from the root of the hair. Neither shall ye swear by the memory of a person or thing, for all are fleeting. At all times let your speech be only yes, yes or no, or no. Whatever is beyond that violates the laws. An eye for an eye. You have heard that it has been said, an eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth. But I tell you, exercise justice according to the natural law of creation, so that you find the verdict in logic, in wisdom. Exercise love where it is warranted, and punish where the law of nature demands punishment. Ye shall further remain within the laws of the creation in deciding justice, for ye may not impinge upon the laws of the creation in that which has already been laid down for thy judgment and wisdom. Give unto him who asks of you, if the request is made sincerely, and turn thee away from him who asks of you in dishonesty to deprive you of that which is yours, in order to elevate his own comfort and status. You have also heard that it has been said, "You shall love thy neighbor and hate your enemy." But I tell you, exercise love and understanding according to the natural law of the creation, so that you act and feel rightly according to justice and logic. Exercise love where it is warranted, and despise where the law of nature demands punishment. Perfection of spirit. You shall be wise and learn knowledge, for you shall become perfect in spirit as the creation which created you. You shall train your spirit in the course of incarnations at many, many levels, and let your spirit become perfection. Thus you can become one with the creation. And thus it was that Immanuel taught those ones who came to him in search of wisdom and truth. He continued his teaching thusly: Watch your piety, practice it before the people with right words, lest you be accused by them of lying, whereby you find no reward from them. Choose your words in accord with logic, and consider the knowledge and behavior of nature. When you give alms, you shall not publicize this, as do the hypocrites in the synagogues and in the streets, in order to be praised by the people who witness. Verily I say unto you, they have no reward, because they give alms solely for selfish reasons. Prayer. When you pray, you shall call upon the omnipotence of the Spirit, and you should not babble as do the ignorant and selfish, for they think that they are heard because they use many and grand words. The spirit of man does not require many words, but it requires the knowledge of its power. Pray, therefore, in knowledge to the almightiness of the Spirit, that its grandeur and power is infinite. If you do not know how to pray directly to the almighty power of the Spirit, then use instead something sacred through which you will enter into the Spirit. But never be like the ignorant, the hypocrites, and the selfish, who revere some thing or object, believing that the almighty power of the Spirit somehow dwells within it. Ye must be aware that the object is only an opening of the way, through which the almighty power of the Spirit be reached within thyself. Therefore, pray as ones that know, and therefore you should pray thusly. A perfect prayer. My spirit, you are omnipotent. Your name is holy. May your realm be incarnate in me. May your power reveal itself within me, on earth and in the heaven. Give me today my daily bread, and thus let me recognize my transgressions and errors, and I shall recognize the truth. And do not lead me into temptation and confusion, but deliver me from error. For yours is the realm within me, and the power, and the knowledge forever. Amen. For when you pray to your spirit, whatever you request will be given to you, if it truly is a desire. For believe with knowledge, and you will receive. Spiritual poverty. If you believe in false teachings, namely that power and spirit do not dwell within you, then you will be without knowledge and live in spiritual poverty. Though you will receive, now and then, that which you will ask for in your false belief of alienated sanctuaries, idols, and gods, you will receive only because of your strong false belief, without knowledge of the real truth. For verily I say unto you, blessed are only they who serve the real truth and knowledge, for only they are to receive in honesty. Rules to live by. Consider carefully the way ye do of your fasting, if you choose of fasting. You shall not appear cross like the hypocrites, for they disguise their faces so that they appear to be something because of their fasting. Verily I say to you, they have no reward, inasmuch as they fast only for selfish reasons, for the sake of appearance. But when you fast, anoint your head and wash your countenance, lest you appear before the people with your fasting, but before your own spirit, which is hidden. You fast for the sake of your health, the expansion of your spirit and knowledge in wisdom, and not else. Any other reason is self-indulgent and for the appearance unto others. Ye shall neither amass great treasures on earth, where they are eaten by moths and rust, and where thieves dig for them and steal them. For where your treasure is, there also is your heart. And the true treasure is wisdom and knowledge. When thy earth journey is complete, ye shall be separated from all earthly treasures, so better you build thy treasures in the realms of heaven. The eye is the light of your body. If your eye is clear, then your entire body will be light. Vision goes beyond that which is witnessed by a sighted eye. If your eye is evil, your entire body will be most dark. If the light in you is dark, how great will the darkness be? Nobody can serve two masters. Either he will hate one and love the other, or he will adhere to one and despise the other. You cannot serve your spirit and the mammon. Therefore I say unto you, do care about the knowledge of your spirit, about that which you eat and drink, and care about your body and what you will wear. For is not the spirit of life and the body more important than all the treasures of the world? The spirit of man, which is thirsting for truth and knowledge, cannot preserve his earthly life without his body, for they are one. Man should take care to increase the knowledge of his spirit, care about the laws of life, and have concern with food, drink, and clothing on behalf of his body, which houses his spirit. But ye shall not spend of thy time in concern of storing up great treasures, for ye need them not. Behold, the birds below the sky, they eat the harmful insects, and they have feathers as clothes, yet they have no spirit. They work because this is their duty, and they are fed and clothed by the creation. Are you not more than they? You can think independently through your free spirit, and the great wondrous thinking mind God has given unto thee. You can work independently, and you can independently prepare food and drink and clothe your body, and it is your responsibility to do this for yourself. Behold the lilies in the marsh where they grow. They do not work, nor do they spin. Yet, verily I say to you, the lilies also fulfill their duty by giving pleasure to the eye with their beauty. I say to you that Solomon, in all his splendor, was not clothed as any one of those blossoms. Should you not do so much more for yourself, since the creation sustains and clothes the grass on the field, which is here today and thrown into the oven tomorrow? The grass fulfills its duty by serving as fodder and fuel, but you, of little faith, are you not much more than the grasses? Therefore, take care for the wisdom and knowledge of your spirit, and take care lest you suffer from lack of food, drink, and clothing. For verily I say to you, if you suffer from hunger, thirst, and nakedness, wisdom and knowledge are driven away because of worry, for thy mind will not find freedom. Neither shall ye neglect your own attention to caring for self, in that ye depend upon another to supply these things unto you, unless ye are infirm and have an interval of inability to tend of self. First and foremost, think of the realm of your spirit and its knowledge, and of comforting your body with food and drink and clothing. You must ensure respite, that the body not be fatigued unto illness, and you should not remove responsibility from others, and that you perceive ye should tend of others who can tend of themselves. You should take care in thy charity that it be worthy in its placement. Ye must also care for the following day, for tomorrow will not care for you by itself. It is enough that each day has its own cares, so that you should not have to worry about the needs of your physical well-being, but you should not dwell nor hoard, for the supplies will but rot and deteriorate. Take care in moderation and in expected need, but do not place such stress on the morrow, that ye do not use those things given unto you for the use of today. Then Immanuel asked those gathered with him to consider judgment. Judge not falsely, lest you be judged falsely. For with whatever judgment you judge, so will you be judged. And with whatever measure you measure, so will you be measured. Therefore, judge according to the logic of the laws of nature, which are from the creation, for they alone are true and accurate. What do you see but the splinter in your brother's eye? And are you not aware of the sliver in thine own eye? You hypocrite! First, pull the sliver out from your own eye, and then see how you can pull the splinter out of your brother's eye. First, learn the laws of nature and of the creation, their logic, before you judge and want to see the mistakes of your fellow man. First, learn through the laws of nature and of the creation your own mistakes, so that you can correct the mistakes of your fellow man. You should never give sacred things unto the dogs, nor throw your pearls before the swine, lest they step on them with their feet, and turn on you, and tear you apart. For verily I say unto you, do not throw your spiritual treasures into the dirt, and do not waste them on those who are unworthy, for they do not thank you, and they will tear you apart. For their understanding is small, and their spirit is weak. Ask, seek, and the golden rule. Ask, and it shall be given unto you. Seek, and you shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. For he who asks of his Spirit receives, and he who seeks through the power of Spirit finds, and he who knocks at the door of his Spirit, to him will it be opened. Who is there among you who, if his son asked him for bread, would give him a stone? Or if he asked you for a fish, would you offer him a serpent? Therefore, if you, even though you are being wicked, can still give your children good gifts, how much more will your Spirit give unto you if you request it? So be it. Everything that you would have people do unto you, also do that unto them. That is the law according to the prophets. Enter through the narrow portal, for the portal and the path leading to condemnation are wide, and there are many that walk thereon. And the portal and the path leading to life and knowledge are narrow, and there are only a very few that find of it. Beware. Beware of false prophets and scribes who come in to you in sheep's clothing, but inside they are like raving wolves, and preach to you humility to shrines, false deities and gods, and preach to you of humility to idols and false teachings. Beware of those who forbid you access to wisdom and knowledge, and tell you to not go forth to hear what perhaps is truth. For they speak to you only to attain power over you, and to seize your goods and belongings. Always search beneath the coverings to inspect that which they do not tell you, and further, check carefully those things that they extract from you. Truth and wisdom in truth are given with no price of treasure, nor power of force. You shall recognize these ones by the fruit that they bear. Can a person gather grapes from the thorns, and figs from the thistles? Therefore, every good tree brings forth good fruit, but a bad tree brings forth wicked fruit. A good tree cannot bring forth wicked fruit, and a bad tree cannot bring forth good fruit. Therefore, by their fruit shall you know them. Therefore, he who hears my speech and follows it is like a smart man who built his house on the rock. And he who hears this speech, and does not follow it, is like a foolish man who built his house on sand. And when the flash flood rushed forth upon him, and the strong winds were blowing against the house, it collapsed and fell. So be it, that ye who have wisdom to heed my words shall reap of great, unbounded rewards. And after Immanuel had finished his discourse, the people were stunned and shocked at his wisdom and knowledge, and were surprised at his teachings. For he spoke with total authority and severity of tone, a new teaching, and not as the other of their own scribes. They mumbled about among themselves in great wonder at this gentle man who spoke so emphatically of the truth which was laden with reason and logic. Let us go for a rest without this place, that we can continue in refreshment. I am in great appreciation for your willing service, Chela. Peace abide with you is my blessing. Salut. It would be, as I am told, that basically you wrote of Sipapu Odyssey in about 10 of thy days. We shall get it done, beloved one. So be it. Chapter 4. Recording number 3. Iscariot Immanuel Sananda. Monday, August 7th, 1989, 4 p.m. Year 2, day 356. Judas here in light with the radiant one, Sananda. Let us proceed, Dharma. Many healings. When Immanuel came down from the mountain, many of the people followed him. And behold, a leper came and fell on his knees before him and spoke, Lord, if thou will, please make me clean. And Immanuel reached out his hand and touched the leper and said, I will do it. Be clean. And soon he was completely cleansed of leprosy. Then Immanuel spoke to him, See to it that you do not tell anyone of this, but go forth and show yourself to a priest, for you were healed through the power of spirit and through the wisdom of knowledge. Immanuel then went on to Capernaum, where an autocrat approached him with a request, saying, Lord, my servant lies at home with gout and is suffering terribly. Lord, I have heard your new teaching, and I believe in your wisdom, which says that the spirit of man can perform miracles through the knowledge of the truth. Immanuel responded to him, I shall come to him and make him well. The autocrat answered and spoke, Lord, I am not worthy that you enter under my roof, but speak only one word, and my servant will be well. For I, too, am a captain and am subject to authority. I have soldiers under me, and when I say to one of them, Go away, he goes away, and to the other, Come here, he comes here, and to my servant, Do this, he does it. When Immanuel heard this, he was astonished, and spoke to those who followed him. Verily, I say to you, I have never found such faith in anyone in Israel. But I say to you, many will come from the east and west, from the south and the north, And they shall understand my teaching, and recognize its wisdom and knowledge. But the children of Israel shall be expelled into darkness, and there shall be wailing and grinding of teeth. The false teaching of Israel will bring bloodshed through millennia, for the power-hungry selfishness and glorification of Israel will bring death and destruction throughout the land, and throughout the entire world. Turn away from the false teaching of the ruling power and their scribes, for they only bring destruction to generations of human races. Israel believes itself to be the chosen people. By no means, because there are more rebellious and incredulous than the unknowing who lack the secret of the laws and act in ignorance. Again Immanuel spoke to the captain, "Go, and it be done to you as you believed." The servant was well that very hour. Then Immanuel came into the house of Peter, and saw that his mother-in-law was bedded with a great fever. He took her hand, and the fervor left her instantly. She rose from her bed and served him. In the evening many were brought to him who were possessed, and he drove out the spirits of evil through his word, and made all that were sick well, so that the words of the prophet Isaiah would be fulfilled, who said, "He brought to us the new teaching of knowledge, and took upon himself our weakeners, and he healed our sick and infirm." Then, as again Immanuel was by the river, he saw many people pressing around and about him. He asked to be taken to the other bank. A scribe came to him and said, "Master, I will follow wherever you go." Immanuel spoke to him, "The foxes have hollows, and the birds under the sky have nests, but I have nothing firm where I can put my head. I have the mission to preach wisdom and knowledge, and therefore I am wandering restless throughout the lands." Another of the disciples said to him, "Lord, permit me to go and bury my father who has just died." This was as they were to depart the city upon a journey. But Immanuel said to him, "Follow me, and let the dead bury the dead." As he came to the other bank near the people of Gadarene, two that were possessed rushed towards him. They came out of the place of tombs, for they were so very dangerous that no one could walk on the street where they were treading. "Behold," they screamed and bellowed from within, "what do you want from us, you son of Gabriel, the celestial son? Have you come to torture us before the time has come?" And the evil spirits within them asked him, "Lord, if you would but expel us, let us go into the herd of swine which is grazing over yon way, for we have no other place to go." Immanuel demanded, "Drive into them." And the evil spirits went into the swine, and behold, the herd of swine hurled themselves into the waters of the river and were drowned. The swineherders fled, and went into the town, and told everything that had happened to the ones possessed. And behold, the whole of the town's people went out to meet Immanuel. And when they caught up to him, they asked him to leave the area, for they were in great fear and confusion. Therefore he boarded his boat, and went again into his own town. There they brought him a man who had gout. He was lying in a bed. When Immanuel saw their faith, he spoke to the man with the gout. "Be comforted, for your faith in the power of my Spirit, and your faith in my teaching of wisdom, which is the teaching of nature and the creation, has helped you." Immanuel was most weary, for he was never in aloneness, that he might rest of his body. Always the press of crowds were upon him, and all who came were not of faith, and came forth to cause trouble. Some of the scribes stirred up the speech among the people. "This man blasphemes God and our holy teachings." But since Immanuel understood their thoughts, he spoke. "Why do you think such wicked thoughts against your better knowledge? Yet what is easier, to say, 'Your faith has helped you,' or to say, 'Get up and walk'? But so that you know that I am a man just as you, but that I know how to use the power of my Spirit through my knowledge. Therefore, I command the man with the gout, 'Get up, pick up your bed, and go ye home.'" The man got up, picked up his bedding, and went forth to his home. When the people saw that, they were afraid, and praised the new teaching of Immanuel, which gave such power to men. Matthew's call. As Immanuel went away, he saw a man sitting at the customs office named Matthew, and he spoke to him, "Follow me!" And Matthew got up and followed him. And it happened when he sat at the table at home, many customs officers and ignorant people, and those who were seeking the truth, came and sat at the table with Immanuel and his disciples. When the Pharisees saw that, they spoke to his disciples, "Why does your master eat with the customs officers and the ignorant?" Immanuel heard this and responded, "Those who are healthy do not need a doctor, but the sick do. And the knowing do not need the teachings, but the ignorant do. And those who were not falsely taught do not need the teachings, but those who were falsely taught do. Now go and realize the falsity of your erroneous teachings, lest you mislead those people who thirst for the truth." On fasting. Some of the disciples of John the Baptist came to him and said, "Lord, why do we fast and the Pharisees, you and your disciples, do not?" Immanuel spoke to them, "How can the ignorant fast and suffer while they are taught knowledge? And how can the teacher fast when he has to teach knowledge to the ignorant? Verily, I say to you, your teachings are wrong if you fast according to the law of a cult. Fasting serves only the health of the body and the cultivation of the spirit. No one mends an old dress by using a new patch, because the patch will come off again from the dress, and the rip will become worse. Nor does one pour new wine into old skins, or the skins will tear and the wine is spilled. But one pours fresh wine into new skins, and they shall both be preserved." More healings. And when he talked with them this way, behold, one of the chiefs of the community came to him and fell down before him, saying, "My daughter just died, but please come and put your hand on her, and she will live." Immanuel got up, and his disciples followed him. And behold, a woman who had an issue of blood for 12 years stepped up behind him and touched the hem of his garment. She had spoken to herself, saying, "If I could only touch his garment, I would become well." Immanuel turned about and saw her, and he said, "Be comforted, for your faith has helped you." The woman was well from that hour. When he came to the house of the chief and saw the fife players and crowds of people, he said, "Go away, for the young girl is not dead, but asleep." And they laughed him to scorn. But when the people had been expelled from the house, Immanuel went within and took the young girl by her hands and said, "I command you, get up and walk." The girl got up, rose to her feet, and walked. The news filled the whole country. As Immanuel went away from there, a blind man followed and cried, "O Lord, Son of wisdom and knowledge, who knows how to use the power of your Spirit, have mercy on me." As Immanuel approached him, he queried of him, "Do you believe that I can do such a thing?" And he replied, "Yes, Lord." Immanuel touched his eyes and said, "Be it done to you according to your faith." His eyes were opened, and he had vision. Immanuel warned him to go forth and see to it that no one learned of what had happened. But the man went out and spread the news throughout the whole countryside. When this one had gone, they brought him 2 people who were mute and possessed. And the evil spirits were driven out, and the mutes spoke. And the people were amazed and said, "Nothing like this has ever been seen in Israel. How powerful must this new teaching about the power of the Spirit be to enable it to perform such miracles?" But the Pharisees said, "He drives out evil spirits through their chief, and he mocks God our Lord." However, among themselves they said, "Who is this Immanuel who possesses greater wisdom and knowledge than we? His teachings are more powerful and more accurate than are ours. This endangers us. Therefore, we must try to catch him so that he may die." Immanuel continued to go around into all the cities and villages and preached in the synagogues the secret of the creation and the laws of nature, so that the Spirit would attain omnipotence. He preached about the spiritual kingdom in man, and he healed all sickness and infirmities. More laborers for the harvest. When he saw the people, he took great pity on them, for they were parched and scattered like a herd of sheep without a shepherd. he was greatly saddened, and he spoke to his disciples. "The harvest is great, but there are only a few laborers to bring it in. Seek and pray in your spirit, so that more laborers will be found for the harvest." And it happened that they found laborers for the harvest, who gathered around Immanuel and his disciples. Let us close this portion, Dharma, for your body is too weary to proceed. I take leave with my blessings and benediction, and I place mine seal upon these portions, that they not be misunderstood, and stand in the truth thereof. I am that I am. I am Sananda.